Welcome all. It's draft night again on Primetime Mock, the show where we bring you a new industry draft with guests from all over the fantasy community every single week. I'm the host of this draft party, Mark Shu, and you can find me on Twitter at Primetime Mock. And if you haven't already, head on over to YouTube and subscribe to the Primetime Mock channel. We've got a great show for you tonight, but first a little announcement. I'm going to be ramping up the fantasy content a little bit in June, and I'm going to be adding a solo show to the channel. It'll go right into the same feed as this, so you can find that right there. The first one is going to be a little introductory. It'll allow you to get to know me a little better, my fantasy philosophy and all that, and I'm excited to see where it goes. But we're going to dive right into it tonight, so let's meet some of our guests. From the Rumboyz Network, the CEO and founder, Rumboyz Robbie. What's going on, Robbie?
Cheers to me. Cheers to you. Shout out to the whole Primetime Mock crew. Let's get it. Dilly dilly.
Enjoy yourself, Robbie. I love it. What can we expect you to bring to this draft tonight?
I'm gonna be inside everybody's head. I'm gonna be talking a whole lot of ish, and I'm gonna be dropping them fantasy isms. Let's go. Rumboyz.com.
Love it. I love it. All right. And from the Trade Addicts podcast and Dynasty Game Night from Manalapan, New Jersey, I'm a Jersey guy myself, so I love it. Russ Fisher. Russ, what's going on, man?
Not much. I don't have enough energy to follow Robbie. That was way too much, man.
Man, I don't even know how I don't know how I'm going to make it through the whole hour with Robbie. He's too hyped for me already, but I love it. I love the energy.
Oh, yeah. On brand.
I don't think anyone can keep up with Robbie.
I'm not even going to try. So if you want to try and keep up with Robbie, everybody else go ahead. But I'm going to let Robbie do Robbie. And now we got
jumping around. There we go. Got it.
Not bad. And the fantasy football hustler from San Diego, California, Alex. What's going on?
What is going down? Hyped to be here. I'm on the clock right now, so I'm about to lock in Dalvin Cook right now. Crazy that Robbie just got Christian McCaffrey at the 1-8. That's wild.
That is great, man.
Wild.
Man, I'm going to be so worried about me being on the clock because I've got a draft on my phone tonight. I had some computer problems yesterday. Oh my gosh! And I found out that there's a grain of dust or rice in my laptop. My laptop was bad, and so I can't move anything at all. So I'm trying this one for the phone. We're going to see how it works out today, but I'm hoping that I can get the laptop back real soon. All right,
just boil some water, drop it on. The rice will cook and get mushy, and you'll be fine.
I think that only works for phones.
I think it'll. Yeah, I think the real answer is just buy a new computer at some point, right? I got to see if this fantasy thing worked out first. Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. I'm just gonna keep hacking away at it and see what happens. All right, we've got the godfather of Dynasty League football with us today. We are all honored to have Ryan McDowell. Ryan, what's going on, Ryan?
Hey guys, thanks for having me. This is a great concept you have here. I've caught the past couple and they're a lot of fun for sure. And I can tell by hearing Robbie, this one's going to be fun as well.
Right, I haven't even done anything yet.
This is just the intro.
I think we're all having fun right now. So
spicy.
Oh, a wide receiver coming off the board. You fancy, huh?
I'll be fancy as I want, but I got 2 picks here, so we're gonna figure out how that goes. Who do I have next? Because I'm trying to make a pick right now. All right, next up we've got from Football Guys and the co-host of our Friday show, Dave Kluge. What's going on, Dave?
Not too much. Thanks a lot for having me. I just want to say that this started off exactly how I wanted. I was the first person to pick my draft spot. I picked 105, and I said, please let Lamar Jackson drop to me at 105, and he just dropped right into my lap. So we're off to a hot start. That's exactly what I wanted.
There was
came early.
There was a moment where I was going to move up to maybe 102 or 103 and take Lamar, but I let you have him, Dave.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mark.
What the hell was that?
Hey, anytime. And we're moving on to another Dave. We've got David Heilman from Dynasty Dorks, and he's from Indianapolis, Indiana. Is that correct, Dave?
Yeah, we'll go with that. Live in Indianapolis. And for the show's sake, I am David. For everyone out there. There's only one Dave allowed on this show.
And if you think you can make that happen in this room right now, I'm all for it. But I am going to probably call you Dave by accident about 50 times. So don't.
As long as he doesn't come over there and hit you, we're good.
Well, we'll see how that works out too.
Man,
All right.
y'all are.
The other half of the Trade Addicts podcast from Philly, PA, not too far from where I am up in Allentown. We've got Rocky Petrella. Rocky, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. Happy to be with this great group you got tonight. Like the start to my draft. I'm looking forward to this.
I'm looking forward to it too. I'm really not even paying attention to what's going on. I hope that I hope my picks are good. But we're already having fun. I'm excited to chop it up with everybody in this room. And last but not least, the woman who can get more Twitter followers in a week on a burner account than I can in 3 months. We have the Stephie Smalls. Stephie, how are you?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to get my account back soon.
I think we're all excited for that. But I am gonna miss Burner Smalls. I'm not gonna lie. I am gonna miss Burner Smalls.
I'm sure she'll be back.
Yo,
I'm sure they're gonna be interacting with each other.
Stephie gonna be stepping on the Twitter with a grill and a do-rag in no time, bro. Like, hey, y'all remember that meme of Martha Stewart when she ain't snitched and she held it down? Hey, that's gonna be Stephie, bro. Hey, she held it down. She held it down though. She went to Twitter jail. She did her time. She started being real heavy. Shout out to Rikers Twitter.
Oh gosh.
Oh man, we're having fun tonight on Primetime Mock here. Okay, so tonight we've got a Superflex Dynastart draft. We're going 10 rounds deep, and I just want to kick it off. Can somebody start by giving me what their strategy would be for a Dynasty startup like this? Let's go with. I made Stephie wait for so long. Steph, why don't you start? What's your strategy for a Dynastart like this?
I'm the worst person to ask because I have no strategy. I actually broke my strategy and I took a quarterback because you guys made me nervous. I usually wait until way later to take a quarterback. So since you guys got all aggressive up in there between 1 and 6, then I had to take a quarterback after taking my Saquon Barkley.
I do love Saquon there. I think he's my running back one. Apparently he's yours too. And yeah, if you can't get one of those first few quarterbacks, I think that top 5 is pretty much a lock there. But if you can get Saquon at 6, I love it. Anybody else want to give any? What's that, Robbie? I hear you back there.
7. She did at 7. Herbert went at 6. It was like all
my fault. Yeah, my fault. Hey, I'm gonna make a lot of mistakes here. Just let him go. You know. Don't be calling out the host. I know what I was talking about. I know I'm talking more the top. I'm talking about those top 5 quarterbacks. I know she came at 107. I'm really talking about. I'm talking about.
Sorry.
My bad. Okay. Anybody else got some strategy that they want to talk? Ryan, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm the opposite of Stephie because I'm definitely taking quarterback first, and usually taking 2 quarterbacks with those first 2 picks, at least the first 3 picks, and building my team around that position.
Oh, I'm going to do something so spicy here, guys.
Do it.
Ryan and I were the only ones that went quarterback in the first and second round. I'm kind of surprised by that.
Okay.
All right. Stephie just took Najee Harris off the board at 307. Stephie, I feel like we've talked enough about Najee the past 3 weeks, but I'm going to have you go for it again. Go ahead.
I mean, let's just talk about the inevitable. Big Ben's arm strength is not going to be there. No matter what, this team is going to have to figure out how to run the ball, and they're going to run the ball with Najee Harris. So there's no way this guy doesn't produce, at least for fantasy purposes. I don't know how far it's going to take the Steelers, but I think that Najee Harris for fantasy is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Again, last week I think we polled the group on our single quarterback Dynastart, and we went with 305 touches. I think we had more than 2/3 were taking the over on that, and I think it could even be closer to like 350 with that 17th game.
Man, I just going to jump in here. I like my start for sure. I'm sure we all do, but Robbie gets McCaffrey at 8 and then Russ Wilson in the 3rd round. That's ridiculous.
I'm just sticking. I'm honestly sticking to my strategy to what Stephie was saying earlier. To what Sis was saying. She usually waits on the quarterback. I wanted to just stick to my guns there, and that's what I'm doing right now. And so far, so good. I'm happy.
Until you get to the last 6 games of the season and Russell Wilson forgets how to throw the ball.
Well, luckily that's why we're gonna have more than just one quarterback. We're gonna do this thing.
Sorry, I'm just a bitter Seahawks fan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ew, Joe Mixon. I'm sorry, I'm not a Joe Mixon.
Don't hate on my Joe Mixon there.
I just hate Joe Mixon, and it's not even just it's just everything from being burned by Joe Mixon in the past as a fantasy owner. Like, I've been playing fantasy for a really long time, so like I've been burned by Joe Mixon like a lot. And then just there's him as a person too. So yeah.
Well, there is that, and you can't deny that. But as far as the fantasy production and what he's going to be asked to do this year,
he's going to be cheeks this year. Still.
I mean, we can tell that Mark doesn't have any problem with character flaws. He took Tyreek Hill in the second and Joe Mixon in the third. So,
oh my God,
that's what we need to know about Mark.
Hold on. This is a mock draft. I've made some mistakes, and I'm gonna have to pay for this one.
That was a great observation.
That was a good observation. Sometimes
I love Dave.
Sometimes you watch these and you don't realize who you're taking sometimes based on the production that they put up. But yeah, that's a good point.
Hey, you're hosting too. You got a lot going on.
I got a lot going on. Don't even worry about that. Dave, tell me a little bit about your draft. How's it been going?
Well, I knew that I wanted Lamar right off the bat at 5. I was hoping he was going to drop to me, but really when I look at the top 5, that's where I think there's a pretty big fall off, because Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Dak. I mean, that's my top 5 right there, and I'd be happy with any of those 5. That's why I took the 5th pick, and to have Justin Fields wrap around back to me in the 2nd, I wasn't expecting that, but I will gladly take it. But I don't really go into dynasty startups with a strategy in mind. I kind of play the first few rounds, take the best player available, and then I'll develop my strategy from here. So, seeing that I got my 2 quarterbacks and I got DeAndre Hopkins, now this is one of those where I'm going to have to wait till later on in the draft, and then I'll just start smashing veteran running backs to fill that hole, and then hope that I can get some youth in the rookie drafts over the next couple of years.
I love that idea, and I do love, even if you're drafting your best player available, you always have to remember that rookies are always going to be coming, and sometimes we get rookie fever, right? We want to add these young players, and I think Justin Fields is a great quarterback to come around, but coming back with Hopkins, and then
damn it.
I was thinking about taking CD. I probably should have. I probably should have.
Robbie, that one's for you, buddy. That one's for you.
So you did that shit on purpose.
I love Terry this year. You know that. You already know that. But yeah, that was to make sure you couldn't get him right there.
Damn it, he was queued up.
He's going in the 4th all day. That's what I've been seeing. So,
and I love it. Alex, why don't you tell me about what's been going on in your draft so far?
So I normally am the type of person that goes quarterback a little bit early, but when the top 6 picks were QB, I just shifted, and we're in the 4th round. I still don't have a QB, but I got Cook in the 1st, Kelsey in the 2nd, Zeke in the 3rd, and Terry in the 4th. So I'm loving my skill positions right now. We'll see how it works out at the QB position, though.
Oh.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm usually not a quarterback drafter, and I do get the past few drafts that I've done that are super flex. Dave, I think you were in one with me that I got burned on quarterback, and I tried this time to go through with more quarterbacks, and I'm still trying to figure out what the right balance is. I love Tyreek Hill where I got him in the 1st. I do like Joe Mixon in the 3rd. Joe Burrow, I think he could be good. But thinking back now, he was, the next quarterback that I wanted to take, but I don't know if he was, if this year he'll be as productive as I want. And I'm starting to think that I might be looking for a team that's looking to build and get a little extra help from next year and beyond.
Some real info about Joe Burrow. He's like the weirdest quarterback to kind of judge on where he's going to go. I'm creating a whole bunch of hustler leagues. It's all people who are signed up on Patreon who just want to get into a bunch of leagues. And we've already done 5 startups so far. And Joe Burrow's gone anywhere from like the 1-7 pick to places in like the low, like 3rd round, like 3-1, 3-2, and everywhere in between. So it's been kind of insane.
It's so tough to read.
really quick. That is way. I'm sorry to interrupt. That is way too freaking early. For Travis Etienne, especially after you go Akers and Gibson as your running backs. I don't get where Etienne fits complimentary there.
He's going to be a wide receiver, just like he will be on the Jags. Yeah.
If he plays wide receiver, that will work out. I do agree. I do have some doubts about Etienne. I actually more have doubts about the Urban Meyer coaching regime and what's going on there. I said last week that it's starting to feel like sort of that Jets circus that you had, post Rex Ryan it just feels like it's starting to get a little too circusy for me. And on top of it, I do like Etienne, but I'm really worried about what Urban Meyer is going to do with him. I think that he could be very valuable for fantasy, but I felt like they had a lot of different needs more than a running back in that first round. So I don't know how I feel about that Urban Meyer regime.
I gotta say, I'm shocked that Kyle Pitts fell all the way to the 5th round. I've done quite a few mocks and quite a few startups. I've not seen Kyle Pitts make it this far.
For all three of those tight ends, all 4 of those tight ends, the first 4 that just went off, I was shocked as well.
That's the farthest I've seen Waller fall in any startup I've done, and I've done so.
Hell yeah!
I wanted him to fall one more pick.
I mean, I almost took him over Hopkins.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's night.
Wow.
Damn.
And we're all supposed to be pros here, right? So what does that mean for us if we're having Waller fall and Pitts fall?
I mean, it all depends on your draft. It all depends on your draft and who you're drafting with. I mean, everyone went QB like super quick. Usually in that first 6 picks, you'll see someone switch it up and they'll go and get their running back. That was something that was pretty different to me. That the way that kind of started off, I was like, okay. So like everybody just wants a quarterback, and nobody's thinking otherwise.
It does depend on if it's 1 QB or super flex, because all the super flex leagues that I do, it's more QB heavy, kind of like this is, and then a lot of guys end up falling who usually don't.
Yeah, most super flex drafts I've done this year, there's been 8 to 10 quarterbacks going in the first round, and usually it's like 9 of the first 10 picks are all quarterbacks.
Rocky, I haven't heard much from you yet. Why don't you tell me a little bit about what you've got going on?
Yeah, I've been pretty much staying on brand with my draft. Russ knows I like to wait on quarterback and super flex, like some of you other people have mentioned. And I'm a big elite tight end guy. I was very happy to see Kittle fall to the 310. So I'm pretty happy. And this is actually even a younger team than I usually go with, but I really like it so far. I'm very win now generally when I draft in startups. But to get the 4 guys I got in the first 4 rounds, I'm pretty happy with because I got a lot of youth there.
Yeah. I like having that youth. We were talking last week about how that youth always, even if it doesn't produce that first year, it is going to gain value. And you can use that to your advantage in trades. And sometimes it's not always about, when you're building these Dynastarts, it's not always about having the right team right off the bat. It's having the value that you can go and trade for the players that you want. And that's right on, Rocky. I like that strategy. Who else am I trying? Have I not gotten to hear from much yet? Let's see. David, how about you, man?
Well, first thing I want to just talk about the importance of mock drafting. I think some people out there think it's just for fun, which of course that's one of the best parts of it. But we all talked earlier about how trying different strategies out, or even if you don't have a strategy, you can kind of at least get a feel for how the boards are going to fly. And I think if you don't mock draft, then you're going to be behind the 8 ball when it comes to the actual draft.
Oh yeah,
I can see everybody.
That's absolutely right, and that's why we do this with. That's why I'm doing this with all of you. I like to make sure that everybody's seeing that we're all putting the work in, going through and seeing what works and what doesn't for our teams. How we do this. I would be doing this. I do this pretty much every single day on some different kind of draft. What I'm doing, and this show is really me just bringing a bunch of fantasy analysts along for the ride. So I might be messing up my picks. I'm probably messing up way too many, but that's good. That's what we're supposed to be doing right now. And then when you have your startup draft, it will end up going a lot better for you. And that's really what this is about. And that's why we're kind of talking it out here right now.
You don't go play ball without warming up, and so that's the same thing. And
practice.
We got Ryan on the show. I mean, I got Ryan's I had my notifications on, so when he sends out tweets, especially the ADP and stuff like that, it's really helpful to know live accurate information going into your drafts.
Absolutely.
Based off this, I can see Ryan and I, we're the guys that like to stockpile quarterbacks. I mean, this is the cheapest you're ever going to get them is in the startup draft. Their value goes up as soon as that draft ends. So I got 3 quarterbacks, and I'd be looking to, pawn one of those guys off as soon as the season starts.
That's absolutely true, and that is why I was willing to go a little more quarterback heavy than I normally do. I've been playing a lot of one quarterback, so I'm converted a late round quarterback drafter here, moving into super flex. But again, that value that you can then trade and have whatever player you want with a stud QB is maybe one of the most important things that that you can have, having that value right off the bat. And when everybody wants that quarterback, it's not like a 1 QB league where someone just says, okay, well, just screw you. I'm not gonna take that quarterback. I'll just take another one. Here, it's like, I need that quarterback. Please give him to me. I'll do whatever you want, right? And that's a good spot to be in a dynasty league.
And it's a good opportunity for.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's a good opportunity for people to get used to queuing up players, learning where they're at. If you mock routinely, you start to see where they move in ADP and so on and so forth. So that way, when your actual draft day comes, you're at Buffalo Wild Wings or wherever you draft at, and the guys are all in your head, the girls are all in your head. They're talking all that rah rah. The psychological warfare honestly isn't getting to you, because the psychological warfare, hate it or love it, it is a part of fantasy football.
That's absolutely right. That's right. You want to be. That's why you want to be calm, cool, and collected in these drafts. Here, it's chaos. I love chaos. That's why everybody's here. I want this chaos right now. Okay, but when we're in the draft room, you want to be completely zen. You want to be able to pick exactly who you want. You want to know that this guy's going to fall right here, and that you're going to have to take this guy now if you want him. And that's what this is all about. Ryan, did you ever think that you'd get Kyle Pitts in the 5th round?
Yeah, that was a little surprise. In Dynasty, I think he's certainly not the most valuable player, but I think he might be the most difficult to trade for right now, especially in 1 quarterback leagues. I know obviously we're doing super flex tonight, but the hype is just crazy. We all know that, and we'll find out what happens if he can live up to that, especially early in his career. But I think there's a great chance that this time next year he's the tight end 1 in Dynasty.
And with the Julio news that's been dropping this week, I think it's easier to say that he's going to have a role early, right? Not that necessarily he's going to be the tight end 1 right off the bat, but he's, I think he's going to have that ability to do, what you want even in that first year. Yeah.
Hold on. I need to look at Steph right now while she's picking. What are you doing?
I was going to take Visca. I was really close to doing it, but I didn't. I really wanted to, but I went with Judy instead.
No, hey, I'll give you that. That's smart.
I was very close to taking Visca, though.
Urban Meyer hates Visca, so.
Yeah.
James Robinson should have not
fallen in my head. So
James Robinson should have not fallen that far.
James Robinson. Wow.
Urban Meyer doesn't hate Visca. He just loves Kadarius Toney. That's what it's about.
And ATN at wide receiver.
Right. Okay, yeah. I'll say anything to make me feel better about the amount of Visca shares I have.
No,
they're
man.
good.
Yeah. I was a huge
is off
guy,
the board.
But I'm starting to feel a little less secure about my Visca shares right now. They're definitely a little shaky at this point.
I don't think we can believe anything that's going on there. I think that he is shell shocked right now. He's a new coach. I don't think he knows what's going. he's just talking. He doesn't know like how to handle the media yet. So I think we're going to see it. I don't think anything that's coming out of that franchise right now is like realistic.
So you don't think ETN is a third down back?
You saw the news today.
He's
that they
not
want
a third
Tim
down
Tebow?
back.
No,
They
he's
want Tim
definitely not the
Tebow to
third
be the
down
Taysom
back.
Hill of that team.
I just know that Urban Meyer is. I think he's nervous. Like I think that he doesn't. He's just talking. I don't think anything. It's a smoke screen.
He's
Nothing
also
other-
taking over a new locker room with guys, and you want to be able to gel. And when you come in there, you draft a running back first round. Obviously, that sends a message. But as coach speak right after the draft, saying that third round, he's going to.
I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily coach speaks, because in regards to like Laviska specifically, you don't know necessarily how they are going to use him. Just like how when you look at his Colorado film, you did not know how he was going to be utilized then. He
was going to be utilized anywhere and everywhere because that was all they had.
Exactly. Yeah, he was going to be utilized anywhere and everywhere, and it was kind of almost the same thing last year when you look at the film. So Laviska's unique. I want to see honestly how they utilize the kid.
Are we supposed to stop after the 5th round so we can talk about something?
I think a lot of these new
That's all right. We're having a good time.
Drafting off scouting. It's a big thing.
All right. So we're here at the early end of the 8th round.
Y'all disrespectful right now.
Jameis Winston just went off the
before
board.
Daniel Jones. Come on, guys. Like, are you for real?
I'll go ahead and take Dallas
right
Goddard.
here.
I'll go ahead and take Dallas Goddard.
Steph, you got to talk me down about Daniel Jones. I'm a Giants fan, but I don't know if I see it for
There's
long.
no disrespect. We're not going to have Jameis Winston going before Daniel Jones. Come on now.
I think we all knew that.
Y'all
Danny
kidding?
Pesos, come on. Who wants him besides you?
You don't even know if Jameis is going to be, and you don't even know if he's going to be starting.
Damn,
and Peyton's out here. He loves quarterbacks. Him and Taysom Hill have a love connection. And then he went into the draft and he was like, you know what? I need one more. I just need to get my fix. I need another quarterback. So that's disrespectful. That's what that is.
Thank you, Robbie. I heard that. I got my my Lamar Bateman stack, which I was really, really hoping for.
Bro,
I win the NFL.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Robbie.
Did you see Lamar Jackson's heat map to Bateman's route tree?
No, I haven't.
No.
All right, so if you take the two, right, and you lay them over top of each other, like they are the exact same. Bateman is probably going to be the number one rookie slot receiver this year. Like, look out for his numbers out the slot. Like, it's going to be insane. I know that everyone's super high on Terrence Marshall as a slot, but Bateman's going to be scary.
We saw it last year in the offseason, heading into the season. They said, we want Lamar to stop running the ball, start throwing the ball. And to start the season, he was averaging 27 pass attempts per game. And then they went on that 5-game stretch where they dropped 4 games. And that's when Lamar started running the ball. Pass attempts per game dropped down to 20. And then this offseason, they go out, they get Sammy Watkins, Tylen Wallace, Rashad Bateman. They want him to throw the ball. And I think that the problem was they just didn't have receivers. So I think the additions this offseason are going to help Lamar take a huge step forward as a passer.
Yeah, the Willie Snead disrespect. Come on, guys.
Because they had abandoned the 12 personnel. Once Hayden Hurst goes down to Atlanta. Now with bringing in a guy of Bateman's size, you can now reestablish the middle of the field presence. I mean, it's not going to be the same as having two pure tight ends, but Bateman can run those routes to get to the middle of the field, which is where Lamar likes to throw, especially when he's on the run. So you got a beautiful stack right there, bro.
And that's why I wanted Kenny Galladay to go to the Ravens so badly. I thought that was the exact, and they didn't get Kenny Galladay, but Rashad Bateman, he's a pretty good, compensation prize for missing out on that.
No, dude, I respect it.
Ravens have been trying to have a big guy work for years. Miles Boykin, Des Bryant. I'm glad they didn't get Galladay. Let them try something different with Bateman. I know Bateman's a bigger dude, but he could do a lot more than the rest of those guys can.
Yep.
Yeah, my only worry is even at 27 a game, that's still not much volume in today's NFL. That's what, like 450 passes on the season. That's my only worry with Bateman. But I mean, where you're getting them, it's still good value.
Especially when you have to make sure the 6 tight ends on the field at the same time get their share of targets.
Come on.
Oh crap!
I
That's
just got
me.
my second running back.
Got 20 seconds rest.
Stack it.
Oh, went Pittman.
How you feeling about those running backs, Dave?
Not too good, but
Running backs are
I'll
overrated.
be hammering rookie drafts, getting more running backs. I mean, I do love
Rojo.
Austin.
It's trash.
Yeah, I'm not too crazy about Ronald Jones, but I don't. I mean, he's a good running back. I'm just not crazy about Bruce Arians being his coach. So
I don't think Rocky has ever hater. I don't think Rocky has ever watched Ronald Jones play. He's just always hated him. I don't. Maybe he said something mean about his mom or something. I don't know. But from the very beginning, Rocky has hated Rojo for zero reason.
Yes, because he's not that good. But
so who's going to be the running back this year in Baltimore? Or I'm sorry, not in Baltimore, in Tampa Bay, because it was Fournette last year. It was Peyton.
Nobody.
The year before.
All of them.
This finally the year Keyshawn
They're all
Vaughn
going to
breaks
muck
out?
it up, yeah.
Gio, baby.
All four of them.
Yeah, it's disgusting right now. That's a backfield that's a fantasy nightmare.
It's a real avoid. I will take Keyshawn Vaughn really late, but and even that I'm not like excited to do it. I'm just seeing if something will pop. It's a lottery ticket really more than anything. But I'm kind of avoiding those running backs when they start to come down the queue. And I'm hoping that I've got running backs before that, even in a Dynastart, especially if I'm one that wants to try and win this year.
And all those receivers there are going to kind of cannibalize each other, I think, again this year too. So it's good for Brady, not as much for anybody else on that team.
What you thinking, Dave?
OBJ.
Okay, so you like poop? All right. little fetish.
All right.
On the stream.
Don't kink shame, guys. Come on, man. Let OBJ do whatever, well, almost whatever he wants.
Please don't
It is a two to the chest.
Just no shirtless boat pictures anymore. That clearly ruins playoff
God.
games.
Dude.
No.
Yeah, that's what it was.
What ruins
Hey.
playoff games is coaching.
Shirtless
Yeah.
picks with freaking Trey songs.
Bad draft
No.
picks.
Yeah, that boat pick was the end of a lot of stuff. I got OBJ over my shoulder, so I had to take OBJ there.
Trey Songz didn't put out a good song after that. The Giants, the playoff hopes, like, man, don't get on
Killed
boats with your
everyone's
shirt
career.
off if you're light skinned.
Robbie talks, but then like forgets that Washington hasn't beat Daniel Jones, which is a disgrace. Like it's like the funniest thing to me. Like he talks so much crap on the Giants, but then forgets that your team can't beat Daniel Jones.
Who's your daddy?
That's an
Who's your division
embarrassment.
champion? Who's your division champion?
This
Okay,
boy
then.
is 4-0 against your
then.
team, and you
Who's
guys
your
want to
division
talk crap.
champion?
Please,
Who is your
get out of here.
division champion?
Wait,
can't hear
are
you,
we
you're
bragging
muted.
about being the
can't hear you, you're
NFC East
muted.
champion right now?
Yeah, that's not much to brag about.
What are you bragging about?
Hey, let me have
Fitz Magic
my
is
little-
totally not going to break down by the middle.
Oh,
of the
Fitzmagic's
season.
getting a Pro Bowl this year. Mark my words.
Right. With his, like, he hasn't started a full season since 200015. You think his
It's gonna
38-year-old
happen. It's gonna happen.
is gonna, his
I
38-year-old
think you're
bum is
forgetting
gonna,
that he went to Harvard.
it ain't gonna happen. I don't care where he went. He could go Princeton.
It's
I don't
happening.
care.
It's happening. It's happening.
I'm sure. And I love that for you, but I can't wait for Heineke to take you to the promised land.
I can't wait either way. Hold on. Let's make sure we got that correct.
He doesn't
I cannot
care who
wait
takes him
either
there.
way. Exactly.
Oh, I was joking.
Can
Shit.
someone
Yeah,
explain to me why Robert Tonyan has wide receiver eligibility on Sleeper?
Yeah,
Oh,
makes
God.
no
For
sense.
fun.
Wow.
Sleeper just does fun things like that. Like they just decide some players.
Sleeper's just go with it. It's fine, and that's
and we believe them. Yeah.
Guys, we are burning through this draft. We are almost at the end of the 10th round here. And I want everyone to go through and tell me a little bit about their team. David, why don't you start? Because you're all wrapped up here.
Started out with Trevor Lawrence. It was a decision between him and Burrow. Went with Lawrence. Then DeAndre Swift, just getting a running back early. Calvin Ridley, I think, obviously with the Julio Jones news, he's very interesting right now. Edwards-Helaire, I think people are sleeping on him a little bit. Just had really high expectations last year, fell a little short, but they've invested in the offensive line. Just needs a little bit more goal line touches. And then Keenan Allen, I thought that was really, really good value. Getting Keenan Allen as my wide receiver too. I got sniped a little bit. Didn't want Matt Ryan as my next receiver. I was hoping for Matt Stafford or Tannehill So I waited a little too long for that, but I had to take Keenan Allen. So I made up for it. And then Robert Woods, always a value. Odell Beckham, and then Leonard Fournette. Didn't get a tight end. Forgot we were doing 10 rounds. So
hey, that's totally fine. No
drink
worries.
your draft, guys.
No worries on that.
I didn't take a tight end either.
There'll still be tight ends to go. I did take one as my last pick. I probably wouldn't take him there. I did just want to fill it out, but that's all right. I'm not too worried about if you did or if you didn't. Yeah. Let's see. We got is that Rocky? That's you there, Dynasty. That's the Eagles. That's got to be Rocky. Yes. Go ahead, Rocky.
Yeah, like I said, I'm really happy with my draft. This is why I waited quarterback. I got Cousins and Brady in the 5th and the 7th. They could both easily be low-end QB1s. Goff is fine as a 3. I got the 4 guys I mentioned earlier in the first 4 rounds. Very happy with them. Tons of value. I also see tons of production from them. I think Lamb bust out even further this year with Dak back. Has a probably like Justin Jefferson-like season. I think Sanders is a good value in the 6th. And then Gaskin and Boyd are both solid producers, I think, for this year, assuming that Miami doesn't bring anybody else in this offseason. So, again, like I said, I usually go win now. So I think those 2 definitely be good, solid starters for me. I like this draft overall. I got the youth early, got 2 solid quarterbacks, an okay 3rd, and then some depth there.
I do love that top 2 wide receivers in A.J. Brown and C.D. Lamb. That does look beautiful. And George Kittle on top of it. Alex, go ahead and wrap up your draft for me.
So I started off with Dalvin Cook at the 1-9, then took Kelsey. If I can get Kelsey in the 2nd, I'm just going to do it. He's still got like 3-4 good years of solid, top 3 tight end production. Zeke fell all the way to 3-9. If people are going to fade him that much, I'll just take him, especially with Dak coming back. And then sniped Robbie, getting Terry at the 4-4. I waited on QBs. I usually go early QB, so when I'm doing mocks, I try to wait and just force myself to wait, see what the QBs end up looking like. I got Baker at the 5-9, and then I got Chris Godwin, DJ Chark as my 2 and 3 wide receiver, and then took Jameis Winston over Danny Pesos and Derek Carr and Mac Jones, a couple of those guys, because I knew I could get Taysom Hill in the next round, just stack both of them. Either way, I got the starter for the Saints now. And if this was a real dynasty, there's still a couple other quarterbacks out there that I could get for the bench depth, and then wrapped it up with Debo in the flex spot. Loving it in the 10th round.
The thing about that Jameis Taysom stack is I don't think it'll happen, but I'll have this sneaking suspicion that there's going to be just like a quarterback committee the whole year. And it might not even be a thing that you want to invest in, because it might split from in 1 week, and it might work another. You might have a week where both of them blow up and one where neither of them really get enough for it to happen. But I still think that Jameis has the ability to turn it around. I do believe in Sean Payton. I believe in the Saints, and I think that this is going to come out. This is going to come out all right for you.
And only one of these 2 guys threw a touchdown pass. Actually, only one Saints QB, threw a touchdown in that final playoff game that they lost, and his name was Jameis Winston.
That's true. All right, Robbie, show me what you got.
So I went ahead. My first 2 picks, I kept it on brand. We're going to come out right out the gate, and we're going to get our running backs. That's just what I love to do. Especially because the position is a commodity. So we go Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry right off the bat. I get 2 of my favorite guys. I went my guys, and I got them. I noticed, quarterback starting to dwindle away, and I'm obviously not going to get no youth. Let's go ahead and get Russell. Couldn't get McLaurin. Went ahead and got Allen Robinson. Logic behind it. He produces with no matter who the hell is throwing to him. Honestly, I'm a little bit mad at myself before then going to get Russell Wilson, because I probably could have gotten a more premium receiver, which is something I would have more so traditionally done, but I didn't want to count on Wilson falling. So we go with Robinson. Needed a second QB. Tannehill had already been taken, and I was hoping that I could have gotten Tannehill and maybe stacked him with Bursker as my tight end. That's my little sneaky stack out there for you guys as fantasy and in fantasy land. Write that on your notepad. But instead, I go with Pat for Stafford. Was hoping I could have stacked him. Cooper Kupp and Woods went right where they should have back to back, so I wasn't going to be able to get the stack because I went ahead and went Mike Evans. I should have just reached there. I felt that in my gut. I should have taken the reach. I feel like I probably could have gotten the same amount of stats out of a Bobby Trees or a Cooper Kupp as I would have Mike Evans or a Lockett. Still need to secure the stack. So after we go James Robinson, who fell way too much, I feel. And after I went Goddard, I needed Goddard. Shout out to PFF. They have him as possibly being a top 5 tight end this year, as being tight end 5 this year. So, I went ahead. I heard Ian's voice in the back of my head. I was like, go ahead and go get Goddard. And I got Goddard. Then Lockett to complete the stack with Wilson, Terrace Marshall to give myself some rookie youth. And that was way too late to grab a rookie. But 82.1% out the slot, I'll take it.
Yeah, I love it. Stephie, go ahead.
I definitely drafted very differently than I normally do. Saquon Barkley is getting disrespected in the fantasy community. So from a medical standpoint, there's no reason that I'm not taking Saquon Barkley. Had a beautiful recovery with his prehab and rehab. So Saquon Barkley is a smash for me. I think that I'm taking him over CMC everywhere. Jalen Hurts is a surprising pick for me. He's not someone that I normally would go with, but my good friend Kluge over there has officially convinced me that Jalen Hurts is a guy to go with. So I'm trusting my friend Dave on that pick. Najee Harris, again, he's going to get the targets. I don't care what the Steelers do. It doesn't matter. Big Ben is old as shit, and they have to run the ball. Like, that's just it. That's it, period. Waller at 4-6 right there. Come on, guys. Waller is my tight end too, and that is a fantastic spot for him to get drafted. I was about to take Pitts, but I'm going to go with Waller. I like veterans over. I like that secure knowing of talent right there. DJ Moore, big fan of Carolina. Dave Montgomery, there I go, finishing my running back stack. Jerry Jeudy, I think, is going to have a fantastic year. Daniel Jones got disrespected by whoever picked Sam Darnold and Jameis Winston. Give me a damn break. And Tyler, that's not mine. Adam Thielen, that's the farthest I've seen him fall. And Robbie Anderson, who I think is going to link up with Darnold and have a fantastic year. And I think that's a solid team right there.
That USC connection. I dig that.
Yeah, Thielen continues to fall. The fact that he's there at 9 it's insane. I mean,
every year.
You worry about him in the end zone. He only had, I think I heard a stat today that he only had 13 targets in the end zone, and he caught 9 of them. And that's not that couldn't be, just because he's so good in the end zone or anything like that. But
he's an excellent route runner.
I think he's an excellent route runner, and he's still a huge part of that offense. And whether it's Irv Smith or whether it's Justin Jefferson, who's taken a lot of it, or Dalvin Cook, Thielen opens things up, and he's always going to be the guy who's open. I feel like they're going to be willing to cover Thielen over the athleticism that those other players have, or let Thielen have the easy target, and he can always find that soft spot.
I'm not trying to expose anyone's age here or anything, but I do believe that NFL history teaches us something, especially in fantasy. I mean, look at how long it took for a player like Rice, a player like Moss, a player like Chris Carter. These great elite guys. Look at how long it took them to finally, quote unquote, fall off. Like, it took a long time before NFL teams were finally like, okay, now you lost your step. So I mean, just keep that in mind with a guy like Thielen. He's a baller and a great route runner, and he gets open.
I mean, Larry Fitzgerald had fantasy relevance up until even a few years ago, and he was great basically all the way through the 2010s. So,
but in the Dynasty community, as a 30-year-old wide receiver, you might as well be dead.
As a 27-year-old wide receiver, you might as well be dead.
That's true.
But at the same time, if that guy's going to win me a ring, I don't give a damn. Win me the ring.
And I always talk about fantasy like poker, and at those values, if you can get, if you can see a flop on it with a cheap hand like that still has the ability, it doesn't matter. It's that we're playing poker on a week-to-week basis, and basically any week these things, something can happen, something different can happen. But really, you have this guy who's good, and he's been good, and even though he was an undrafted player, I believe, Adam Thielen, correct? Yes. And and he's been good this whole time. He's got sound fundamentals. He's always right where you want him to be. He never asks for the ball. And that player is going to be on a team for a long time. And sometimes, even though he's a young player, or even though he's not young, that doesn't necessarily matter. You know, sometimes that's how you get your value. You find a value in those players that nobody wants, and sometimes those are the players that win you your league.
I'll put it like this: Where did Julio go in this draft? Where did Julio Jones go? Hang on, let me
8-7.
8-7. I don't want to hear anybody. Okay, if Julio goes around before and Thielen is still producing at or pretty much around the same age, I don't want to hear a damn complaint. All right, listen, I'm gonna call Julio and Thielen the veteran steals of this mock draft.
I love it.
I mean, I'll take it because I got Julio.
I'm just keeping it real though. I'm keeping it real.
Question for the group. So, question for the group. I just put this out on Twitter earlier. What are we doing with Julio Jones right now? What's a good trade value for him if you're trying to get him or sell him? He's so hard to sell right now, but I mean,
it depends on on what the personality type is of the person that you're moving him to. Like honestly. Like, I'm the type of dynasty player, I'm always thinking win now. So, in often cases, I'll throw age out the window. A lot of dynasty players won't do that, you know. But a guy like Julio, I firmly believe that I don't care where he goes to. I think he's honestly going to produce. And I think he's really going to be more fantasy relevant than we've seen in recent memory. So, I'm excited for him to put on different colors. And I think that it really is going to make a difference.
So, if he goes to the Patriots, what are you paying?
That's a really, really, really good question because I'm definitely lining Julio up in my flex.
Let's start with a back end first. Let's start out like 112. That's a yes.
Any one and it's a done deal. No one expects a first for Julio.
Yeah, no one expects a first. Yeah, no one.
Would you pay a first? Would you pay a first for
at the beginning of the season? No. Like right before the playoffs, yes.
Why?
But why though? Exactly. Why would you do 6 games?
Nobody's saying that.
Patriots? They can't even throw the ball. Are you guys crazy?
Julio in the fantasy playoffs. Trade deadline wouldn't allow you to trade for him by the fantasy playoffs.
I don't understand what those words mean.
What is a trade deadline?
I don't know. I've never heard of that before.
Shit, savages out here. Okay.
All right, we're moving on. Dave, Kluge, why don't you go ahead and give me your draft?
Ouch.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm not saying I'm hurt. I'm just saying
Russ, my bad, man. I'm doing this on a phone today, man. It's been a trip. All right, Russ, go ahead.
All right. Well, like you said, doing mocks is a great idea. It's very helpful because I came into this not having a draft strategy, and I'm leaving this with a very solid draft strategy. Never draft next to Stephie ever again. She just straight up destroyed my draft the entire time.
God, I love that kind of.
And I figured you would, and it made me want to say it a little less, but I still had to say it anyway. Man, let's see, Waller, Montgomery, Jones, and Robbie, and so pretty much starting your fourth every round, you pretty much took the guy I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So. Congratulations, and I like you a little less now, or more. I'm not sure. I don't really know.
Twitter doesn't like me, so jump in line.
Isn't that a fact?
I'm worried that we're just going to get pulled because she's on here right now, you know? I don't even know.
Hashtag free
I'm getting throttled down right now.
Guilty by
But we're having a good time while we're here. That's all that matters. You know, if no one watches, we'd still do it, right?
That's right. We're having a ball, and I don't expect anyone to watch anyway, so that's fine with me. Let's see. All right, Dave. Russ, go through your picks, though, now. Give me a little more.
So this is a very me draft. The only thing that's not me is I really wanted Waller in the fourth, and after he got taken, I was like, oh, fine, I'll take a running back, even though I don't normally take a running back in the first 5 or so rounds. And I do love Aaron Jones, and I think he's going to score like crazy again this year. So I felt okay taking him. It makes me happy to have an early quarterback, so I grabbed Herbert. And I go wide receiver crazy pretty much. I want Hawk on every single one of my teams this year. So I wasn't going to let him fall any further because I knew he wasn't coming back around to me. Mm-hmm. After that, solidifying my second QB with Wentz, who I just love back with Reich, and actually I love Wentz anywhere but Philly. I mean, let's be honest. And then, yep, oh Rocky, and then cleaning up my wide receivers with Julio, Pittman, and Rager. I love all those guys. So I love this draft. Like if we made this a league, I'd be pretty happy about it.
Yeah, I do like Wentz this year, especially. I think Indy's probably one of those teams that can be competing. I don't know if they're necessarily a contender yet, but I think they're one of those teams that people might be sleeping on. And I think Wentz, newly invigorated, that Eagles line was trash last year, and I do think that back with Frank Reich, he could have a, I don't know if he'll be an MVP. I'm not the hot take guy. I'm not going to tell you, oh, Wentz is going to be the MVP, but I think he could be competing for one. And if everything falls right, that's a possibility.
I mean, that line with that offense made Phillip Rivers still look like a viable quarterback.
That's what I'm talking about, man. What are you like?
And he was going to be the MVP the last time he was with Reich if he didn't get hurt.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, he needs to go get Julio. That would be a nice addition to that offense.
No. He got Pittman. He doesn't need that.
Can I just say some damn good fantasy defense was played here, because like I feel like looking at my team, I usually preach, trying to build up some stacks and getting some stacks. And the fact that I have one and it's an abysmal stack it's just an anomaly. Like that, I'm just looking like the fact that I'm not seeing a Herbert, Keenan, Allen stack, and that's actually one of the easier ones I've been able to get in a mock. And I'm like, this was a very, very different draft. Now that I'm looking at this board, I'm like, damn.
Look, hit up my DMs. We'll make some trades.
That's right. All right, Dave.
It's props. So,
all right, Kluge, go ahead and give me your draft.
Yeah, I talked about the first couple picks a little bit already. I got exactly who I wanted in the 5th spot when I picked that one this morning, and then Justin Fields coming back to me in the 2nd. That's just crazy. I'm really happy with that. And then getting Watson in the 5th, that's just, whether I want to trade any of those 3 guys, I'd immediately throw them all on the trade block and try to get some additional value out of that. Hopkins coming back around in the 3rd, love that value. We saw it last year. He was the wide receiver 1 before Kyler Murray hurt his shoulder. And I think people forget how dominant he was and how dominant Kyler was. So I'm all in on Hopkins this year. And then with Eckler, that wasn't really my preferred pick. I had Darren Waller and Aaron Jones both queued up and got sniped on both of those guys. But I'm not mad about taking Eckler either. He's young. He's a pass catcher. He's going to rack up a lot of points. And then Claypool is a guy that a lot of people might say that one's a bit of a reach, but I think that he's just got that, he's got all the makings to be an alpha. And I don't know if we're going to see him fully unlocked with Ben Roethlisberger and the arm problems that he's having. But I think the long-term outlook for Chase Claypool is better than that of Deontay Johnson or Juju Smith. So I'm thrilled that I got him. And then, I reached a little bit on Rashad Bateman as well, just to get that Lamar Jackson stack. And then really, I took Ronald Jones and Zack Moss. If this were a real draft, I probably would have waited on Zack Moss, but I just kind of took that just so I can talk a little bit about Zack Moss, because I feel like this guy is getting so disrespected. Didn't have the best rookie season, but he missed a lot of games. And when he played, he was the preferred goal line back. They gave him 8 carries in 7 games last year, and he wasn't that efficient with them. But then this offseason, they did they could have gone out in the draft and free agency with all these running backs available, and they didn't. And that shows me that they're still very committed to Zack Moss to be the guy next year. So I understand that he face planted, for all intents and purposes, his rookie year. But I'm still buying a lot of Zack Moss shares because I think that he can bounce back and be a solid guy on an explosive offense.
I like that too, and I do like that Claypool pick. He of all the Steelers wide receivers, he seems to be the one with the nose for the end zone. He seems to be the one that they're calling on those goal line plays that it's not going to the running back. And I don't know if he necessarily has all of those that he had last year with a guy like Najee in the backfield, but I still think that they're going to utilize him, and he is a weapon down there. And that's that's what you want in fantasy. That even if he's not going to get a lot of touches, he's going to get those high value touches that you really want. And Ryan, go ahead and wrap up your draft for us.
I made the easy pick at 101 with Mahomes. And then, like I said earlier, always going to build around the quarterback position. So I knew I was taking at least one more quarterback on that 2-3 turn. I think Trey Lance is a first rounder in this format. Honestly, if I had the 111, 112, he would have been my pick. So grabbing him at 212 was an easy call. Looking at it now, looking at my I can't even say running backs. I just have to say running back. Looking at my one running back I drafted, I probably should have grabbed Dobbins or any of those three that went right after Dobbins, Chubb, Gibson, instead of DK Metcalf. But I'm glad it's a mock draft for that sake, at least.
Hell yeah.
Aaron Rodgers definitely not in the plan. You can tell from the rest of my team that I usually build with a young roster, but Rodgers falling to what was it, the 412. Had to grab him there, like Dave said earlier. Automatic value, would be able to trade him pretty easily, if not in the offseason, definitely once the season kicks off. Kyle Pitts, we already talked about. And then I basically just hammered young wide receiver value, found one running back I liked with Chase Edmonds.
I like that Waddle pick at round 9 as well.
I love that Waddle pick.
And in hindsight, I'll talk about my draft here a little bit. In hindsight, I do wish I had taken Aaron Rodgers. I think I have, for Dynasty, I have Burrow ahead in my rankings. But now that I'm doing it, I don't know if that's the way I'd be going. Or not Burrow, Tua in the 4th round there. I think I'd be taking Rodgers over Tua this next time around. I started with Tyreek Hill. I think he's the number 1 wide receiver this year. And to get that still in the 1st round when we still have a good number of quarterbacks and those top few running backs that I'm really, really looking for off the board, I'm happy to take Tyreek Hill right there. I do like Joe Burrow in the 2nd round. I like his future. I like that they got Jamar Chase for him, even though they didn't they didn't go with the offensive lineman. I think they tried to piece that together in the back end of their draft, and that'll be nice. Joe Mixon, kind of a semi-stack as the running back there. Tua Tagovailoa, I think he is going to have a bounce back year, but again, I think I might have taken Rodgers a little bit more often than I'd be taking Tua there. Now that I actually see it play out, I love Carson, getting Chris Carson as my running back too, even though he's an oldie but a goodie. That's right. So I would be happy to take him. He's a bruiser, and I don't necessarily think this is last year. They love him in Seattle, and who knows how much longer he's valuable. But I think that he's a guy that he'll be great for my team if I'm competing, and if he's not, he'll still get some value on the trade market at the end of the year. Amari Cooper in the 6th round, I think that's kind of a steal too. I do love CeeDee Lamb, and I do have him ranked higher as my dynasty as a dynasty wide receiver. But I think Amari Cooper is still that guy, and he's probably going to get the most of the targets this year. Cooper Kupp, also I think great value, 712. Love me Trey Sermon. You can hear back on all the other shows about my love for Trey Sermon. AJ Dillon, I also like that. I think that he can grow into this role. And one thing that I don't think many people are talking about is if Rodgers stays and that team is championship contender value, I don't see any reason why Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon really can't be top 24 running backs. I think that they might be. They don't have a ton of receiving help. If they don't get Julio, that's not changing. They've always been kind of a run heavy team, even with Rodgers. And if Jamal Williams is out of the way, I think that some of these games, they're going to run away with it. They might not always need Devontae Adams. He's going to get his. He always will. But I don't know if they're going to always need him. And you're seeing some of these.
Doesn't matter. He's still going to get 17 targets a game.
Yeah, not that I'm saying they won't need him. I'm just saying that they're going to be running a lot if they're going to be a winning team. And I think that if they have that game script most of the year where they're a winning contending team, which I do think that they're going to have Rodgers this year, I think that there's going to be a lot of running back touches to be had, a lot of passes out of the backfield for Aaron Jones, and a lot of hard bruising games in December and November for AJ Dillon. And they both can come out as top 24 running backs if they really need to. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it could happen. And I think that he's a young, strong talent that could work. And I decided to end up my draft with Irv Smith. Wanted to get a tight end. I think he's got some nice upside. I'd probably take him maybe a couple rounds later, but I do like the player. Thank you all for coming tonight. I want to make sure we can see where we can find everybody. Rumboyz, Robbie, give them all your stuff.
Yeah, make sure y'all Google me, rumboyz.com. If you Google the word Rumboyz, will pop up everywhere. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Download the Sports Me app. I am the chief marketing officer over on the Sports Me app. That is my baby. That is my freaking app. So if you're trying to support, young fantasy football analysts and their business ventures, download the Sports Me app. Give your fantasy football advice on there. Drop your fantasy football questions. Talk about your favorite sports topics. It's really dope. And download. It's available on iOS and Android. Sports Me.
I love it. Russ, go ahead.
Wait, hold on. I'm too busy downloading.
I appreciate Russ. Russ is the dude. Hey, come here. Oh, wait, you're over here.
I'm on my phone too. I'm gonna do it too.
Come here, bro. I love you. That's my motherfucker right there. My man.
That's right.
My man. I'm doing a shot for Russ while he does his outro. I'm doing a shot for him.
Do I need an outro? I think that was good enough for me, man. Right? Like, okay.
No, I didn't know where to follow you. I didn't know where I could find you because I'm about to follow you too, bro. I'll make sure.
At Dynasty Outhouse on Twitter, co-host with that guy down there of the Trade Addicts podcast, and Dynasty Game Night now because he's pretty much just taken over that one. Both of those super proud members of the DLF family of podcasts, the best grouping of podcasts and websites you'll ever see or find in your life. And I'm saying that of my own volition.
And I'm saying it because I'm following them now, so you should too.
Robbie's great.
Y'all are great. I love y'all. Cheers to Russ and everyone that just downloaded the app.
I'm doing water. My grandfather always tells me it's no good to take it's no good to take,
Russ on
take a drink of water.
Oh my god.
Yo, hey Russ, I'm sitting at a table that I did a tea party this afternoon with. So you go right ahead. You go right ahead and sip your tea. David Heilman, tell me where we can find you.
Dynasty Dorks. It's one word. Dynasty Dorks Fantasy Football. YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. Look me up.
Dave, I appreciate you coming back. He's the only one crazy enough to come back right now. We had John back last week, the Dynasty coach, and Dave, you're happy to come back. I'm happy to have you. Ryan. Yeah, I'm glad, and you can come back anytime. All of you can come back anytime. We were off the rails tonight. It was crazy. I'm still having a great time. So, Ryan, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you.
Sure, you can follow me on Twitter at RyanMC23 and find my work at Dynasty League Football.
Excellent. And love that DLF subscription. Dave, go ahead and give them all your information.
I used to always go through like the rundown of like, this is what I'm doing every single week, but that just takes way too long nowadays. So just follow me on Twitter and you'll see what I'm doing. I'm on shows just about every single day. Tomorrow, Steph, down in the corner over here, we've got Andy Barron's coming on our show at 4 p.m. Eastern. So be sure to check that one out. That will be a blast, but just follow me on Twitter at Dave Kluge.
And get Kluged. Get Kluged.
That's right.
God, it sounds so good.
We all get a little Kluge tonight. Rocky, go ahead.
Yeah, you can follow me at Dynasty FF Addict on Twitter. As Russ said, I think I'm now a semi-official co-host of Dynasty Game Night. Also co-host with Russ on Trade Addicts and also another podcast, Dynasty Junkies. And I'll mention too, both that and Trade Addicts are part of the DAP network, the Dynasty Addicts podcast network. So you can subscribe to that or follow that as well. So that's where you can find me. And thanks again for having me on. Great group here tonight.
I'm happy I finally got to meet you, Rocky.
Yeah, you too, Robbie.
Happy I finally got to see you.
I'll have to come on Rumboyz After Dark sometime.
You ready for that?
I'm not sure.
The one thing about these pods that I do wish that I had a little more time to get to know each guest a little bit more. I love having everybody on at one time, but there's always every one of you. I wish that I had just another minute to talk to you about one, something or other. And this last one's no exception. Stephie, go ahead and tell us where they can find you.
So this is my new dad joke that I'm really proud of. You can find me, ready? You can find me on your timeline. And if you want to find me directly, you can find me at Stephie Smalls with 3 L's. I get my account back on Sunday. It's a very big deal. I'm very excited. Like Dave mentioned, tomorrow you guys can find us at our Friday show at 4 p.m. Very excited about it. Small Talk came out. I have my new podcast, Off Topic. And then besides for that, everything I'm doing is on my Twitter. Thanks for having me.
Love it. Thank you
And
all
before
for
we
coming.
sign off, I think we should
Yo.
just make sure FF Hustler is okay, because I saw that man hit a bong, have a coughing attack, and then immediately jump off the show. So somebody check on him and make sure he's okay.
He's curled on the floor with some Funyuns. He's fine.
That's okay.
Yeah,
He's
Good. He's doing.
Anyone's got his cell phone number, you might wanna hit him up.
right now.
living his best life right now. He's all good.
Hey, really quick. Hey, y'all ever wait for a paycheck? Like you're just waiting for midnight to hit. You're like, come on, motherfucker, hit my account, please. That's Stephie right now, waiting to get back on her real account.
Thursday night before this pandemic, before I had a kid. Oh my God! If it was Thursday night, I'd be waiting at the bar at like 11:45 for a drink to come on, and I get myself that direct deposit. And I'm like, shots, everybody, it's cut, and that's how.
Y'all want to get a bottle? Let's get a bottle. Let's get a table right now.
So Robbie, Ryan, did you guys have direct deposit when you guys were going to bars?
That's an old joke, is it, Russ?
Dude, I'm there too. Direct deposit was not a thing when I was that young.
No, Robbie called out the old guys earlier, and I knew he was looking at me.
All right, guys. Well, this has really been a blast. I had a great time. I hope you all did too. Everybody out there, you can find me, Mark Shue, on Twitter at Primetime Mock, and go ahead and subscribe to the Primetime Mock channel on YouTube. I'm gonna go play some poker, guys, and you guys have a great night.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot, everybody. I really do appreciate it.
I think we're still live.
Oh, are you serious? It's okay.
Good. Now everyone saw